Before I start this show, let me state that I go to a Denny's over here, and I've talked about this fella before. He's an Indian fella, and I put his photo up on Jovina's website. So those of you guys who are of East Indian descent, I want you to check him out. I used him as an example of a perfect hairdo and the perfect beard that works for him. Okay, that works for his facial structure. One of the Indian women that works there said he's considered, drop dead gorgeous type in his culture, but Jovina said he's good looking in every culture. So if you're looking for, if you're East Indian descent, you're looking for a haircut that works and a beard, you might model yourself after Adish. Okay? And her website is howtodressformen.com. Howtodressformen.com. I've been studying this game for a long time. And I learned, this is common knowledge in the African American community, but there was a fellow named Arthur Gordon who popularized it on the net about the three types of females that are out there. The first type, and you brothers know about this, is the good girl. We hear it in our music, we hear it from our mamas and all that. We grow up, always look for a good girl. And this is the type of female that a brother wants to settle down with and marry, because she's the nice type. She's the type that does everything for a man. It always makes me think of that song, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. How the brother comes in at 5 o'clock in the morning, don't even tell her where she's been, and she gets up and makes him a meal. But even a good girl can be only pushed so far, because that brother ends up in the hospital too. Second type is the freak. And this is a type that usually breaks a motherfucker's heart. Has him up at night wondering where she's at, who she's fucking. Gets a brother all riled up and acting like a female. Stalking her and shit. A lot of freaks end up becoming strippers. Okay? Or they end up being the girls that dress like strippers that end up in the nightclubs. The type that got to show off the boobs. They'll get implants just to attract more attention. Because it's all about attention, which is exactly what they want. And they will get it from anyone, including other women. Some of them end up being bisexual just to get that attention from women also. They crave attention. The nerds call them attention whores, and that's pretty apt. Very, very well named. But most freaks love sex and will always, not always, I'm trying to get rid of that word, will usually have a waiting list of brothers to call, okay? But as I said, you see them in those garish outfits, overdone makeup on, they plaster that shit on, and usually they're the freakiest dancers in the club. These are the females who just need a little push to put them on stage. And from there, they end up on the tracks. If a pimp rolls through, you can scoop those types up. Number 3 is the hoes. Now, a lot of people don't really understand that word hoe. But let me explain to you. These are the professional females out there, okay? And I'm not saying they're trying to hoe up, sex for pay. Because these women are about material and monetary gain. You might call them a gold digger. And that's what I talk about when I say a hoe, a gold digger. And these women are very intelligent, okay? They know how to hunt, just like a man does. They know how to market themselves. They look down on the freaks as these idiots that give it away for free. Now, usually the freaks and the hoes will have the best bodies. So that's the ones that guys end up chasing and making a fool of themselves over. The good girls, some of them are very beautiful also, but they tend to be more closer to the, not the smoking, drop dead, gorgeous girl plastered with plastered makeup. The good girls usually tend to wear minimal makeup, and they're more covered up. They still have the nice physique and all that, but they don't sell it like the freaks and hoes do. The freaks are very strong marketers. Hoes can be subtle marketers, okay, depending on who they're marketing themselves to. I'm gonna get some mail from the women about this because they're gonna be mad at me giving away the secrets. But let me say that most of you guys, when you go to a club, you're chasing the hottest females up in there, and you ignore that nice girl that's in the corner, that's a little bit more shyer and demure. You go after the one that craves attention, dances on the bars, and licks her friend's nipples and stuff. That's a freak. Okay? Freaks are so bad they even wrote a song about them. It's when freaks come out at night. But freaks are also very flirtatious with other men because remember, they need attention. Okay? If you have a woman that's constantly flirting with other men for attention and give you some shit about it, that's a freak. And I recommend you fellas don't give your heart to a freak. Okay? Do not give your heart to a freak. I know I'm going to get some mail about how do you tell the difference. Sorry, I just, since 2001, I get a little irritated. If you open your eyes and pay attention, you can tell the difference. Before you send me that mail, try opening your eyes and pay attention. Freaks dress like freaks. They've always got to get that attention. You see them walking through the club, holding each other's hands, like school kitty girls, dragging their girlfriend through the club. It's all about the attention, especially if the girlfriend is hot also. Hoes, all you gotta do is open your wallet. Shit. No, they're into, what are you doing for a living? And many of them will market themselves within a corporation also. They'll get a job in a company because they're smart. And they'll market themselves to people on the up and up. I have a client that I see. Her husband was married to a woman who I'd call a hoe. She's now married to a religious dude, minister of some type. But before that, she stalked this guy. He worked for a very big computer company. They hired him right out of college. He was on the fast track, and he invested his money, and he had millions. And she took it when she left to go to another man who was the minister. Supposed to be counseling them on their troubles, and he was doing the deed. Okay? That's an example of what hoes will do. Freaks, they just want the sex, the attention. Which is why many of the hoes look down on them, because they're out there giving this shit away. Not trying to benefit themselves. Freaks, their biggest thing is getting the latest MAC makeup, or the latest makeup magazine, and the latest jeans or short skirts or whatever. Latest heels. So that's where they spend their money. Most of them do not work in good jobs. They're usually state workers or they become, I don't want to put the field down, but I've dated a lot of them. The estheticians, the hairdressers, or whatever you guys want to call it now. I'm not saying all of them, but you guys who work in that field who are women, quite a few of your brethren there are freaks. If you guys want to get some freaks, start going to hairstyling places and dating the women there. But they're fun. Okay? Freaks are fun. Love freaks. But when it's time to settle down, fellas, then you want to look for a girl, a good girl. Now, I'm going to get some mail about it. I get it every goddamn time from idiots. How can you say there's just three types? One can be one? No. A woman will have one basic type. You can see a good girl trying to masquerade as a freak because she wants to make herself get more, a little bit more attention. You can see a freak trying to masquerade herself as a good girl, depending on where she's marketing herself at. You'll see a hoe try to masquerade herself as a good girl. Okay, definitely they will try that. Okay, but they have one basic type. Now I know Tariq Nasheed's more into the African American thing. He talks about ghetto hoes or something like that. Basically, he breaks down even further into different types of sisters out there. That doesn't apply to non-blacks though. Like you guys don't have ghetto hoes and stuff like that. He has a bunch of lists of words there that I don't recall, but so I'm giving you 3 basic types that apply to just about every race, even the Asian race. Vietnamese women, you see good girls, freaks, and hoes. Chinese women, you see good girls, freaks, and hoes. Japanese, you see, I used to live in Japan, good girls, freaks, and hoes. I was just watching the fella's videos on YouTube. Someone posted in the forum of a black dude over in Kobe, Japan. I guess that's in Osaka, outside of Osaka somewhere, on the beach. And he was he's filming these freaks. And one girl, she even had the body movement of a freak. No ass! That skirt went straight down the back, but she had the body movement of a freak, wearing a little bra top and a little short skirt. And she was working it. She was good. Pretty good in her dancing. Freaks know how to move their bodies. They love their bodies and they love sex. And all women love sex. But freaks are more addicted to good sex. And with freaks, you got to out-freak them. Okay? You got to put that bitch to sleep. If she's still babbling when you're done, you ain't done your job yet, fellas. If you want to land a freak, you got to fuck the shit out of her. I'm not talking making love. You got to fuck the holy shit out of her, fellas. That takes some work. If you ain't man enough, don't step the fuck up. Leave them super hot females alone in the club. You know? So if you can't control that female and bust her them damn nuts out, you ain't going nowhere in her playbook. With freaks, you're only renting time. She's gonna have some other dudes on the side. So don't get your nose wide open, your feelings hurt. Act like females and sissies crying about the shit. I get a lot of mail about that shit. Men acting like sissies over a female just because she's out. You know, if you've been doing your job right, she wouldn't be out. If you had to settle down with the right female, you wouldn't have a female that's out there. A lot of freaks, they got to go out. If you got a girl that's got to go out with her girlfriends, that's not your girl. She's just renting time. You're renting time there. Who knows what the fuck she's doing? Don't ever take their word for it. Don't ever give your heart to a freak. Okay? There's a brother on my forum right now, all busted up over some shit like that. Getting all emotional and shit. It's sad. You never give your heart to a freak. You give your hearts to the good girls, because good girls will get you back. When you're broke down, she'll be there. When you need help, she'll be there to help you. Okay? That's the only kind of woman you ever want to give your hearts to. Like the woman I got now. And the women I've had in the past. I feel sorry for a lot of you guys who don't understand the three types of women. The first thing you want to do is judge what type you're dealing with. Okay? Then you handle her accordingly. If she's a freak, like we used to say in the old days, you meet her in the club, you got to give her back to the club. That's an old black saying. Some of you guys ask your daddies about that one. You meet a bitch in the club, you got to give that bitch back to the club. Because that's where she is. That's where she belongs. That means you can't keep her unless you got some serious game. And I did talk about how to land a freak, and I'm not going to talk about it because most of you guys are not of that type to be able to land them. You know, you're beginners, so Until next time, it looks like I'm out of time, fellas.